comes in at 5 million. For that price, I think it's pretty good. He could have definitely been 5.5 million the way he ended last season. Should have got more attacking returns, I feel like.
Yo, listen up, Rue is stepping up the game. Where fantasy Premier League runs in his veins. From transfers to captains, he's always on top. Guiding you through every game week non-stop. They say Rue got that Salah flow. Welcome to the channel, enjoy the show. Wild cards, free hits with so much vibe. If you're hunting for success, then make sure you subscribe.
G'day, mate. Welcome back to the channel. I'm FPL Rue, and welcome back to another FPL video. So in today's video, we're going to be looking at my first official draft. The game has been launched. The prices are out. We know how much players are going to be. We know what positions are going to be. And more importantly, we know what fixtures they're going to be. So we'll get straight into it. But first of all, I just want to say, if you are new to the channel, please make sure you do subscribe. It's completely free and it really does help me out. Yeah, it costs nothing, and I will be posting 2 to 3 videos every single week on FPL, and also hit that notification bell too so you don't miss an upload. And if you do like this video, please make sure you give it a like and comment down below what you think of this draft. So first of all, we have the goalkeeper position. For me, I'm only going to be wanting to be spending 4.5 million, so I'm going to drag the price down to 4.5 million. And then we'll have a look at what players it kind of recommends in terms of points. I'm doing it on a free game week sort of schedule in terms of expected points. So as you can see, still is top of the list, followed by Pickford. Brighton did sign a new goalkeeper though, so there is a little bit of uncertainty around that position. Is Sanchez going to come back in as well? We don't know that yet, but if we do know that, I think still is a great option. But for me, I'm going to go for Pickford. I think his performances last season weren't too bad considering how bad Everton were. He managed to get save points, and his fixtures in the first 3 are looking pretty good. So they got Fulham in the first game, Villa in the second game, Wolves in the third game, Sheffield United, then they have Brentford and Arsenal. So although that is tough towards the end of the first 3 games, you're kind of laughing that is, yeah, as best as you can get, really. So we'll just put in Pickford. He is expected to score 7.6 points over them. And you know Pickford, he gets the save points. 2 home games, Fulham, Wolves, and then Villa away. You've got to fancy Sean Dyche to sort out Everton's defence. In terms of the sub goalkeeper, probably just going to go for I've heard, I'm not sure if this is true, but I've heard Areola from West Ham might be starting. So we'll go down and have a look at his expected points if he's on here. Yes, there he is. So we'll transfer him in. So it's obviously only expected 3 points as this website doesn't think that he'll start. But I've had I won't say intel, but I guess intel that Fabianski is going to be the sub goalkeeper, and then Areola will be the starting goalkeeper. By the way, this website that I'm using is called DraftHound. There's an app or there's a website, drafthound.com. If you're interested, look at the link in the description, as it does help me out if you do sign up with that link. Next up, we'll move on to the defense. With the defense, I think there's obviously an obvious player that most of us will be going for, and that isn't Trent. That is Bell, so Luton's Bell. 4 million is going to be a starting defender. Luton's defense wasn't that bad, or they obviously got promoted, so obviously it wasn't that bad. Yes, the Premier League's a different ball game, but Luton's fixtures do look pretty good to start the season with. They've got Brighton, Burnley, Chelsea, West Ham, Fulham, Wolves, Everton. For me, that's pretty good. Next up, yes, I'm going to be going Trent. Trent is the highest player to be expected points, so the highest point scorer in terms of expected points. Chelsea away, Bournemouth at home, Newcastle away. Yes, you got 2 tough away games, potentially tough away games in that, but you know, Trent is going to be playing in midfield. He's going to be attacking. Liverpool probably going to do better than they did last year. I'm not too sure how they can get any worse, but yeah, Trent's definitely in for me at 8 million. Next up, I'm really looking at one of the Arsenal boys, as you can see, Gabriel White are on this, and Zinchenko on this top list for expected points. For me, I'd prefer Zinchenko, as White is 5.5 million. You could go Gabriel, but I'm not too sure where Timber's going to come in and play. I know he can play centre back or he can play right back. So I'd rather just go Zinchenko, as they got Tierney out there as the only other option, and I think he might be leaving this season. Zinchenko is expected to score 12.8 points over the first 3 games. Not Forest at home, Palace away, Fulham at home. Pretty good start, if you ask me, to start the season for Arsenal. Followed by that, they do have some tough games. They've got Man United, Everton, Tottenham, Bournemouth, City, Chelsea. But them first 3 games, you're just, you can't really ask for any more, to be honest. As you can see, Estupiñán is up there, and I am going to go for Estupiñán. Comes in at 5 million. For that price, I think it's pretty good. He could have definitely been 5.5 million the way he ended last season. Should have got more attacking returns, I feel like. But with the fixtures, Luton, Wolves, West Ham, Newcastle, Man United, Bournemouth, again, really, really good fixtures for Arsenal and Brighton. So definitely 2 of their defenders going in. For the last spot, I'm probably going to go for another 4 million defender. I do like to do this. Have a really cheap bench, and then we'll look at if we can upgrade later on in the video. But I'm going to go for Bayer, is the way you say it. So he is potentially going to be starting. He's Burnley's defender. And for me, he does look like a really, really good option. We obviously won't be starting. Bell or Bayer, but for the bench, I think they're both starting. They're both fine, and potentially at home, you might even be able to play them. But for me, Estupiñán, Zinchenko, and Alexander-Arnold are probably fixture proof. We saw how great Estupiñán did last year against Arsenal. I think he got a goal, assist, and clean sheet. But anyway, we'll move on to the midfield. So an absolute dead cert for me in this midfield is Saka. Again, the second highest in terms of expected points for the first 3 weeks. I've mentioned Arsenal's fixtures, really, really great. He's on penalties. He's the same price as Odegaard, which I did think he'd be more expensive. Martinelli is 0.5 cheaper, but for me, penalties wins it all the way. If you haven't seen my last video about 4 top tips to help you pick your FPL team for the game week 1, I do mention picking penalty takers in that. It's not luck. When we all pick Salah, we all pick Kane, we all pick Saka, we pick even players like Gibbs White. We pick them because they're on penalties at the end of the day. Obviously, they're great players too, and they do score goals, but penalties are just almost like a cheat code, I guess. Even like someone like Bruno Fernandes, yes, he's okay, but penalties makes him even more desirable. From there, though, we're going to be going a little bit cheaper. We're going to be going to Matoma again. Brighton's fixtures do look really great. 11.9 points expected in the first 3. Luton at home, Wolves away, West Ham at home. Some really good fixtures for Brighton. Yes, he didn't do as well towards the end of last season. We all had him in our teams, and he didn't perform, to be honest, as much as we wanted him to. But to start the season, I think he is a great asset. Next up, another 6.5 million midfielder, Buemo. So he's now been moved to midfielder. He was a forward last season, and he does come in at 6.5 million. With Tony out, I do feel like Buemo will be playing up front. He will be on penalties, and he almost comes to life when Tony's not playing. When he was suspended last season, and when he's out through injury, he did really well. Yes, his fixtures are not amazing, but they're good enough. In the first 3 weeks, he's got Tottenham at home, Fulham away, and Palace at home. So for me, that is good enough to have in your team. Next up, we're going to be going for Phil Foden, if I can find him. Where is he? Well, we'll go with a player after first. So we'll go with Bruno Fernandes. 8.5 million, a massive price drop. I think it was 9.5 last year. He did end the season really well. His stats are looking great. His numbers are looking great. United's fixtures are okay. I won't say they're good. They've got Wolves, Spurs, Forest, Arsenal, Brighton, Burnley. But he is expected to score 14.7 points over the first 3 games. Rashford is another option, 5.5 million more. But for me, I think Fernandes is a better option because of the penalties. I think Mount might allow Fernandes to play in his natural position because they have got Mount to play kind of that deeper role. And for me, yeah, I'd much rather have Fernandes over Rashford, which could bite me in the bum, but that's the way I feel. So that's the way I'm going. Next up, I do fancy a Man City midfielder in this team, and I am going to go for Phil Foden. Although his expected points are not great, that is just because of his minutes, and his fixtures are brilliant, like Man City's are, because they're brilliant against anyone really. But Burnley away, Newcastle at home, Sheffield United away, 2 newly promoted sides in the first 3. Then they face Fulham, West Ham, Forest, Wolves, and then they play Arsenal in game week 8. With De Bruyne is likely to be out. He's likely to be out, I reckon, at least the first few weeks of the season. So Foden is likely to play that role down the middle. If not, Mahrez is likely to be leaving. Bernardo Silva is likely to be leaving. So on the right, Foden looks like he could play there as well. Yeah, we'll just put Foden back in. Next up, we'll go for the forwards. There's another Man City player I want for the forwards, but first of all, we'll go have a look at the players that are expected to score the most points. So obviously Haaland, going straight in, 14 million. He's expected to score. It's ridiculous. Like, that guy's ridiculous. And this is about to sound ridiculous, but he's expected to score 23.3 points over the first 3 games. That is basically around 7 more points than Harry Kane. Ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. If you look at the striker positions this year, there's not really anyone in between Jesus at 8 million and Kane at 12. Well, there isn't at all between Kane at 12.5. I've been trying to get Kane into this draft. I can't without kind of downgrading like Foden to Eze and then Fernandes to like a 5 million. For me, I think that just restricts you in terms of having to fill that striker spot if Kane doesn't do well, wanting to upgrade Eze or wanting to upgrade that 5 million midfielder. With this way, you're a little bit more flexible. If Kane does bang, then I can go Jesus to Kane and drop down Fernandes. But I want to wait until a 5 million midfielder kind of shows up and starts being an option first. But I think this way, spreading your funds a little bit more is probably a little bit smarter, because if Jesus doesn't go, then you can go to Darwin, you can go to Isak, Watkins. You have options. If Kane doesn't do well, then okay, you can downgrade and upgrade, but it's just more moves and kind of more of a headache. So for me, I'd rather go Haaland and Jesus. Again, Arsenal's fixtures are great. Jesus did do good at the beginning of last season. For me, though, I don't really like putting Jesus in. I think he's wasteful in front of goal. I don't think he's clinical enough. I think Arsenal could do better up front, to be honest, than Jesus. I think he's better out on the right. But they're probably going to play him down the middle, and he's probably going to get goals. But I just feel like he's not clinical enough to be in a team that is fighting for the league, to be honest. Obviously, for example, like Liverpool have Salah, who's pretty clinical. Yes, he's wasteful, but he's pretty clinical. Obviously, Kane, Haaland, even Wilson is clinical. So for me, I don't love Jesus, but but I think he's a good option to start the season with. So we do have another player to go. So we have another forward. If we can just get it up. So for the last forward spot, we've got 4.5 million to spend, or I've gone for 4.5 million because I did want that little bit in the bank. We could go for a 6 million forward, but for me, I don't want to waste that on someone when I could just have it in a bank and have someone to go up to. We'll just have a look anyway at 6 million forwards. So you could go Welbeck, João Pedro, Adebayo, Morris, Ndiaye, Ferguson. I did look at Ferguson, but for me, I'd probably just go for one of the cheapest options. I don't think it's worth spending that position. So I will, let's say, go for McAtee in that position. Like I said, I don't think it's worth spending that at the moment. Just to see, it's good to have that spare money in the bank. Obviously, there are ways to improve this team. Though you could upgrade one of the 4 million defenders and get a 4.5 million defender, which is probably what I'll do. So we'll get Bayer out and we'll go for a 4.5 million defender. So again, you could go for any of the Spurs boys. You could even go Pedro Porro, which is at 5 million because I've got the money, but I'm probably going to go Tyrone Mings. Only because he starts the season a bit rocky with the fixtures. You could even go Botman, who has a rocky thing to the season, but I do fancy Villa to be solid defensively, so I'm going to go for Tyrone Mings. And then even the forward spot, you could upgrade McAtee and go for a starting forward. So you could go for Morris, who's starter for Luton. João Pedro, I don't think he'll start. Weghorst is on here as well, but yeah, I'll probably go for Morris if I had to use the funds. Yes, there is a way to use the funds elsewhere. You could go upgrade Matoma, upgrade Foden, and use the money that way. But for me, I really do think Foden is a really good option to start the season with. We'll have a look at the midfielders anyway, and yeah, so I can show you how it looks. So really, if you wanted to upgrade Foden instead of upgrading the bench positions, you could go for double Arsenal midfield, but you've got Jesus up there, so you'd have to take him out. You could go for, let's just drop it down to about 9 million. You could go for Heung-min Son, but again, not sure how Spurs are going to start the season. Obviously, Foden's not on penalties, neither's Heung-min Son. You could go for Maddison, who's the same price. Like there are options, but for me, I'd probably just stick with Foden. I think he's going to start if De Bruyne is out. You could easily switch him to whoever you want, but for me, I'd rather stick with this team. If you do hit this, or if you see up here, we've got 0 in the bank. We're expected to score 50 points, and average minutes of the team is 72. So maybe we haven't picked players that are going to be playing enough, but for me, I think that's pretty good. But if we hit this magic little button here, it will kind of sort our team out and sort the captaincy and do transfers to optimize the team. You can get all this on drafthound.com. Just make sure you use the link below, as I do get some benefit from it. But yeah, let me know if you do in the comments. But yeah, so it says here, I found 4 optimizations for your team lineup. So if you click optimize, it will apply all changes. So it obviously thinks Morris has a better chance than Foden, which maybe that means we should take out Foden. I'm not too sure. But for me, yeah, I think something like this is a good start for your first draft. If you have liked this video, let me know what you do think of the draft. I will be doing a video rating your drafts out of 10. So comment below your drafts. Let me know who your bench is as well, not just the first 11, and I'll use it in the next video, and I'll give you a rating out of 10 and let you know what I think of the draft. Also, if you are new, subscribe to the channel. It really does help me out. Hit the notification bell and smash a like on this video, and I'll catch you later. Up the Roo Army.